What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Wednesday, April 6th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 6-game slate tonight. So let's take a look at the point guard position. I like Jalen Brunson from the Dallas Mavericks playing the Detroit Pistons, who have the 9th worst defense overall. They give up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Also eligible at the shooting guard position, Jalen Brunson has averaged 30 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He's projected at 31.1 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's 6,100 DraftKings salary, 300 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 221 points scored in this game, and Jalen Brunson has scored 23, 32, and 33 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 36, 32, and 38 minutes. So I like the matchup here, and I like that he's playing a ton of minutes. So I like Jalen Brunson here versus the Detroit Pistons. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. Oh no, I gave you my shooting guard at the point guard position. Jalen Brunson was my shooting guard. Okay, moving back to the point guard position. So here's a value play for you. I like Carson Edwards from the Detroit Pistons playing the Dallas Mavericks, who have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing point guards. And Carson Edwards, he came in, let's see, who's injured on that team? Corey Joseph is out. Looks like he's out with a back injury. So keep an eye on the injury report. If Corey Joseph is out again tonight, look for Carson Edwards, who came in and scored 35 fantasy points in 30 minutes. So he's projected at 27.2 fantasy points here tonight if Corey Joseph is out. And on DraftKings, that's 7.8 times value. He's only 3,500 DraftKings salary. Now he is 1,800 more on FanDuel. So this would be a DraftKings play for me. But it looks like DraftKings kind of missed the ball here with pricing Carson Edwards. They didn't price him up, and he's in a great spot here to crush value on DraftKings if Corey Joseph is out. So I like Carson Edwards here versus the Dallas Mavericks. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, shooting guard position, that was Jalen Brunson. Sorry about that. Moving on to the small forward position, I like Marcus Morris Sr. from the LA Clippers playing the Phoenix Suns, who have a good defense overall. They give up the 11th most fantasy points to the opposing small forwards. Also eligible at the power forward position, Marcus Morris Sr. has averaged 26.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. He's projected at 25.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's 5,200 DraftKings salary, 200 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 229.5 points scored in this game. And Marcus Morris has scored 37 and 33 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 26 and 39 minutes. But I like this pick because look what Marcus Morris has done in his last 5 games versus the Suns. Scored 35, 42, 41, 43, and 31 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Suns. That is fantastic player versus team history. So Marcus Morris just crushes the Phoenix Suns. So I like Marcus Morris here versus the Phoenix Suns. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. So here's a value play. I like Patrick Williams from the Chicago Bulls playing the Boston Celtics, who have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing power forwards. Also eligible at the small forward position. Patrick Williams, he's been playing some pretty heavy minutes. Let's take a look here. It looks like he has been starting the past 3 games, I want to say. And he scored 26, 29, and 34 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 31, 29, and 36 minutes. And DraftKings has not upped his salary by much or at all. He's only 3,500 DraftKings salary. Now he is 1,300 more on FanDuel. So I love that DraftKings price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 224 points scored in this game. So DraftKings has underpriced a couple of players that I think you can take advantage of on this slate. So I like Patrick Williams here versus the Boston Celtics.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on.
Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, moving on to the center position. Now, it's like all the centers are on back-to-backs. All the good centers that I would want to play, it's like they're all on back-to-backs. You got Kristaps Porzingis, Rudy Gobert, Nikolai Vucevic, DeAndre Ayton, Clint Capella, Andre Drummond, JaVale McGee. These guys are all on back-to-backs. So if I'm going to play one of these centers that's on a back-to-back, I looked at the player history, and this guy plays, they don't limit his minutes on back-to-backs. At least they haven't thus far this season. So I like Kristaps Porzingis from the Washington Wizards playing the Atlanta Hawks, who have the 11th worst defense overall. They've been pretty good versus opposing centers. Also eligible at the power forward position. Kristaps Porzingis has averaged 38.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He scored 40, 27, and 48 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 27, 25, and 29 minutes. So he hasn't played a ton of minutes, so I think he'll get plenty of minutes here tonight. He's projected at 38 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 42 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He's 8,400 DraftKings salary, 500 more on FanDuel, and he's got 50 plus fantasy point upside with the Washington Wizards. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 231 points scored in this game. So I like Kristaps Porzingis here versus the Washington Wizards. Now, the other guy that I would like on this, that I would play here, even though he's on a back-to-back, is Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the second worst defense overall. They give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing centers. Rudy Gobert has averaged 41.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 17% usage rate. He's projected at 44.5 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.6 times value. He's $7,900 DraftKings salary, although he is $900 more on FanDuel, so I prefer that DraftKings price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 223.5 points scored in this game, and Rudy Gobert has scored 52, 45, and 53 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 34, 37, and 36 minutes. So at first glance, it does look like Rudy Gobert is the more attractive option here. Let's just take a look and see how he has done for minutes on back-to-backs previously. Let's say on the 20th, he played 33 minutes, and then on the 21st, he played 30 minutes. Only put up 17 fantasy points, though. Let's see if we got any other back-to-backs that we can look at. On the 11th, he played 31 minutes, and then on the 12th, he didn't play that game. So I think there's a little bit more risk on the back-to-back game with Rudy Gobert over Kristaps Porzingis, but you are getting a pretty decent salary savings on Gobert, $500 salary less than Kristaps Porzingis, but the back-to-back on Rudy Gobert does worry me a little bit, where it does not worry me with Kristaps Porzingis, who really hasn't played that many minutes the past 3 games and is not limited on back-to-backs. So just keep that in mind here. Let's see if we can find one more center pick here that is not on a back-to-back. Like, let's say that worries you and you want to save some salary at the center position. You could go with a guy like Ivica Zubac from the LA Clippers playing the Phoenix Suns. Zubac has averaged 25.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 24 minutes per game with a 17% usage rate. He's projected at 25.5 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.8 times value. He's $5,300 DraftKings salary, $300 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 229.5 points scored in this game. And Zubac has scored 38, 23, and 27 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 24, 21, and 32 minutes. And he scored 39 and 26 fantasy points in his last 2 games versus the Suns. So I think he makes an interesting value play, a guy that's not on a back-to-back here at the center position. So I like Ivica Zubac here versus the Phoenix Suns. And just one last mention, who is also eligible at the center position. If you want to just go with a super value play here, I think this guy's still just a little bit too cheap for his upside. Nicholas Batum from the LA Clippers. He's power forward center eligible at only $3,800 DraftKings salary, $100 more on FanDuel, averaging 20.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 25 minutes per game with a 14% usage rate. He's projected at 21.2 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.6 times value. Scored 18 and 38 fantasy points in his last 2 games, playing 23 and 38 minutes. Scored 36 fantasy points in his last game versus the Suns. He's not on a back-to-back either. So I think he makes a pretty interesting value play here versus the Phoenix Suns.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.